What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Sam Dunks, the weekly NBA show over at SlabStox. I'm your host, Sam. We are almost through the first round of the NBA playoffs. There's been a lot of good action so far. Today, I am joined by SlabStox Nate. He jumped on so that we could talk about mostly the Bucks, but also a number of other matchups and other things that we've seen from various players. It was a fun conversation, a lot for you in there. So let's just jump right into it. All right, I'm joined by SlabStox Nate. Thanks for joining me, Nate.
Heyo, happy to be here.
Here to teach you a little bit about basketball.
Yeah, I haven't talked hoops in a while. You know, I love NBA and I love NCAA hoops, but when you just like you love MLB, but when you just focus on one for doing content,
yeah,
it goes out the window.
That's true, and you guys most people don't know this about Nate, but Nate thinks that the NCAA is the purest form of basketball and NBA is trash.
I did used to think that.
I know you did. Oh, what an old man take.
I did used to think that, but there's only so many games you can watch Kansas play, Oklahoma State, and they score 65-63 and be like, wow, that was good basketball. There's only so many brick threes you can watch and miss layups, and then it gets worse from there when you go to like the Big Ten, and it gets worse from there when you go to you like that. It gets worse from there when you go to like high school basketball and lower. So
well, it's just you think about the skill level. It's like you have those couple players on each college team that are just really good and make shots, and if there's even a player on that team, it's like obviously Brad Davison for Wisconsin. He's not that guy, but in the NBA, every guy on the court is that guy from his college. So yeah, it's just the skill level is so much better and a lot less bricked shots, and that's always fun.
Yeah, but it's nice to it's fun to watch scoring, which is why it's fun to watch the Bucks. Back in the day, Bucks would dunk once a year if you were lucky, and outside of Michael Redd is like, wow, this is depressing. And now watching the Bucks, it's like, yeah, I enjoy watching them blow out a team 140-130, 120.
Well, we'll come back to the Bucks. So thank you for joining on. It's an honor to have a crossover episode, Dinging Corners, Sam Dunks.
Sam Dunks.
All right, I have the conference or the playoffs bracket on the screen there. We got Utah versus Memphis. Utah's leading the series 2-1. We've had a few bright moments from John Morant, although it wasn't his, 46 points, I think, that he scored the one game. They didn't win that game. They won the first game. Utah certainly looks like they've been there before. You can tell that the Grizzlies they're a young team, and they kind of let things slip away near the end of the game. So they have a lot of growing to do, and that's okay. This is not a nail in their coffin for their franchise or for Ja or anything like that. They're so young. This is Ja's second year. Most of them are still learning how to play together. So that series, Utah 2-1. I'm sure Utah's going to win it. Clippers, Dallas. We'll come talk about this more in a little bit. Tied 2-2, just total roller coaster of a series. Dallas won the first two games handily. It was like, oh, we're going for a sweep here. The Clippers just handled them the next two games. It's so funny, I was Ty Lue. He's like, he said that, we lost these games at home. We'll have to see how the Mavericks can handle their home court. And when he said that, I was like, is there a road advantage in the NBA? Like,
apparently
both teams play worse on the home court. And then that's exactly what happens. So that was crazy. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Denver, Portland, man, it's just another roller coaster series where there's good players on both sides of the court, and there's also been some underperformers, particularly on the Denver side. And 2-2, I think I talked about a couple weeks ago that I wouldn't be surprised if Portland won that series. But Portland has a lot of firepower. It's tough for Denver to keep up if they're not hitting their shots.
And missing Jamal Murray is just tough.
It is. And if Michael Porter Jr., he had 3 shot attempts the other night.
And they were playing Marcus Howard in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
It's rough for Denver. They're gonna. This is one of those things where they'll look back. Jokic really struggled. Michael Porter Jr. was playing soft. He wasn't even taking any shots or anything, and people weren't even really giving him the shot attempts. I'm not sure what's going on there. They're going to come back out next game and feed him probably 10 field goal attempts in the first quarter or something like that, something obscene just to get him going, and that'll probably right the ship and should help Jokic too. So yeah, we'll see how Denver responds. Phoenix Lakers series tied 2-2. CP3 went down. Looked like, oh no, the Lakers are going to walk away with it. But Phoenix just won the other day. Anthony Davis is down. Doesn't look like he's going to play Game 5. Now all of a sudden Phoenix is favored in Game 5 by Vegas anyways. That's a good series. Two really good teams. If the Lakers are fully healthy, they're one of the best teams in the league. But if Anthony Davis is out and it falls on LeBron, that's going to be tough. And the Phoenix, I love that team. Super fun, young squad. You get CP3 just leading them all up. A lot of fun there. Philly, Washington, much less interesting series. I'm certain that Philly's going to sweep. Is that tonight? It's Memorial Day when we're recording this. Salute the troops.
Game 4, 5:31.
So yeah, Game 4 is tonight on TNT. I'm sure the Sixers are going to win that. Knicks, Atlanta. Atlanta up 3-1. Trae Young, my boy. I love that guy.
Hey, I've always said you're a big Big 12 basketball fan. So
if there's anything that people say about me, it's that. Yeah.
One quick thing about this series, I see a lot of people mocking the Knicks.
Yeah,
on Twitter, left and right, like, oh, Knicks, classic Knicks. But I feel like it's a little unfair because, okay, no Mitchell Robinson, right? This is Julius Randle's first time being like the guy on a team, leading a team to the playoffs. That's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
And then you have Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett are young. And so it's like, in my mind, it seems like the Knicks are like kind of old and probably not a 4 seed, but they've got some young pieces that could grow into a quality team. I feel like it's unfair to clown them for this.
Yeah, plus, they're kind of set up classically to be a regular season team. Although I didn't know how the series was going to go. I think I said 3 weeks ago that the Knicks could probably win it, and then 2 weeks ago I said the Hawks would probably win it. Pulled a little fast one on people there. The Knicks, it's like when you're playing with Tom Thibodeau, it's like tough defense, player dudes like 38 minutes, 39 minutes. And when you're in the regular season, that works pretty good. Once you get to the playoffs and everyone's playing their starters like 39, 40 minutes, and you don't have that like 4 or 5 minute advantage over the bench units of the other team, that really changes things. And Trae Young's just a dog out there. Did you see him after that Game 2 loss?
Oh,
He's like, I'll see. I'm trying to do the symbol that he did. I look like an idiot. But he's like, I'll see you in the A. I was like, yes, dude. And then they went and won the next 2 games. I love that.
He was living it up with those fans in New York.
Oh yeah. Hey, Trey. I mean, Atlanta's a great basketball town, great sports town. But there's something about a guy going to Madison Square Garden like Trae Young and getting, on that stage in front of Spike Lee and everyone else, just like it just hits a little different. And I'm happy for Trae Young and for Atlanta. That's a fun team. They got a lot of good pieces, and they're looking pretty good at the moment. Next game, we'll talk more about this in a second. Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you noticed on the bracket here, the only team that's advanced so far. No big deal. We'll talk about that in a second. And then Brooklyn beating Boston. I'm sure that tomorrow, when this airs, I'm sure tomorrow's probably Brooklyn is going to be moving on to face Milwaukee.
So shout out Jason Tatum. That dude's.
Yeah. Well, he's a one-man band right now.
The only guy.
He's scoring a lot anyways. So what did you think about the Bucks Heat series?
Oh, wow. Was that, the first game, right? Struggle the entire way, shoot 16% from 3, still win. That would never have happened last year. It would never have happened the year before that. The Bucks would have just wilted. So to win that game, you're like, oh, this is beautiful. And then you had no fear. I had no fear after that point. Once they won that game.
Yeah, when to survive a Duncan Robinson game in game 1 and the Bucks to shoot 16% from 3 and still win by 2, it's like, okay, this is a lot different than last time around. Last year's series, we lost 4-1 to the Heat. Nate and I are both Bucks fans. I'm sure people know that, but we had the same exact team 3-point percentage this series as we did last series, down to the 10th of the 10th place. It was like, I can't remember what it was, like 27.8% or something like that.
Ooh, still not good.
Not super great. I can't remember what the number is. I might be off by like a matter of like 5%, but not super great. Shot the same exact amount, and yet last year 4-1 Heat's favor. This year 4-0 sweep of the Heat. Different team. I've been saying this all year, and a lot of people. I mean, no one cares what I say, but just so many people just don't pay attention to the Bucks. Getting Drew Holiday in there, the ability for him to lock down whoever he's guarding. It could be a point guard, it could be a wing, it could be a power forward. It's like he bodies up Kevin Durant when we play the Nets sometimes. It's like he can do that on the one side of the court. On the other end, he doesn't need the ball in his hands. He'll average like 19 points, 18 points, something like that. But the big thing is he doesn't need Giannis to create for him. He can create for himself, and he can create for his teammates. So last year we needed Giannis to just try and create everything. He kept running into that wall and not really knowing what to do with it. That was a huge weakness. This time around, we have Giannis. He can still create if he needs to, and I'm sure once we're playing against Brooklyn, we're going to be seeing a lot more of that creation on Giannis's side. But he doesn't need to do everything because you have Drew Holiday dishing out like 16 assists the other night. I mean, the dude is such a good two-way player. Chris Middleton just super steady, averaging like 50, 40, 90 through the playoffs so far. He's just been awesome. Giannis, the Heat, they're always going to be pretty good defensively against Giannis. And I can't remember what he averaged points-wise, like 20 points or something like that through the 4 games. He didn't have to be the top dog offensively, though, because there's a lot of good players around him on this Bucks squad. I'm so happy.
And I mean, that doesn't even bring up, I mean, obviously we lost Dante, foot injury, but that doesn't bring up like Bobby Portis, who's in a beautiful role for himself.
Yeah.
Like a bench big, and PJ Tucker, who's he can guard anybody.
Yeah. Just to throw him out there and just to stifle an opposing player for 10 minutes at a time if you need to. Super nice. Yeah. And we're not going to they're not the Bucks. I said we. I have a mouse in my pocket. I'm talking collectively. We here, the Bucks. They don't have to be. They're not going to be out muscled by most teams. They're not going to be out toughed by most teams. Like obviously, Brooklyn's going to pose like a huge problem for the Bucks, but the Bucks might be the best team in the league to deal with it. So if the Bucks lose to them, I'm sure Brooklyn will just go on through and probably win the championship. But I don't know. It's going to be a good series. You can probably tell I'm super happy about the way that series went. And look, the Heat, I got I know a lot of Miami people I'm friends with. I consider good friends. I'm not going to belabor the point. I don't want to, offend anyone or make anyone feel, rub the dirt in their wounds or anything like that. But it's like, look, the Heat went up against a squad that had better star power, better depth, better coaching. The Heat were physically weak, mentally soft.
Wow, you just went after Eric Spoelstra, didn't you?
What are you going to do with all that? I mean, the
Tyler Hero's dad was being filmed leaving the women's restroom. Even their parents were messed up.
All right, we got to move on from the Bucks because we just lost all of our viewers. So, well, at least we can tell Aaron that we talked about other things. So, hey, I love Miami. I love a lot of Miami people, and I'm just really happy the Bucks didn't roll over like they did last year. So, I wanted to look at Bam Adebayo. He was one of those performers that really just was kind of a head scratcher the way he played. 40 minutes game 1, 9 points on 15 shot attempts, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Game 2, 28 minutes, 16 points, 11 field goals, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Game 3, 31 minutes, 17 points, 14 shot attempts. That's 8 rebounds and 4 assists. Then game 4, 20 points in 35 minutes. That was on 17 shot attempts, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists. True shooting percentage, really just kind of average along the way. Pretty bad the first game. Assist percentage, really very solid, like it always is with Bam. 21%, 27%, 28.5%, nearly 21%. So the percent of his teammates' field goals when he was on the court, that's the percent of them that is estimated that he assisted. So that's the one thing with Bam Adebayo. He's always going to be able to look for his teammates to score and be creating for his teammates, which is just so unique for a big. You watched that series. What'd you think when you were watching Bam out there?
It just now I haven't watched a lot of Heat this year, but he just seems super, super, super timid. He was not going to the hoop. A couple times in Game 4, he would get the ball down low and actually go up with it, but for the most part, from what I was watching, it didn't seem like he had any interest in going at Brook Lopez whatsoever, and was more interested if he was taking shots to take them outside the paint, which is, I mean, he's a pretty good shooter, right? But obviously not the ideal situation for them if one of their best scorers is only taking outside shots.
Yeah, it was interesting. This is one of the things I really liked about for the record, I don't think Budenholzer is a better coach than Eric Spoelstra, but that was a joke when I said that earlier. But Budenholzer he was changing it up through the whole Heat series, and you could see that on both sides of the ball with matchups and with what we were running offensively and stuff. I got a mouse in my pocket. He really had the defense on Bam reflect what the Heat did to Giannis last year, which is just like sag off of him and say, hey, if you want to beat us by shooting, shoot it. We'll wait here in the lane for you when you try and drive. And that's what the Bucks did to Bam. And you could tell it really got in his head that way. It really kind of exposed some flaws in his game that, if he's not getting downhill, there's just not a whole ton left he's going to do offensively. At least with any regularity, he's still going to be able to pass the ball around. But yeah, they really got in his head and kind of messed with him doing that defensive strategy. I still think long term, Bam Adebayo, great player, and he's a unique big. It's like he's never gonna be like an awesome rim protecting big or anything like that. But as a big man that can move around on defense and cover a variety of positions. That on offense can stand at the charity stripe and facilitate from up top, kind of like Jokic and Domantas Sabonis, some of these other guys. There's very unique aspects to his game. I guarantee you, Eric Spoelstra is going to go into the offseason and they're going to be working on figuring out what Bam can do in those types of situations, just like the Bucks did with Giannis and with Drew and everyone else this season, trying to figure out how to avoid running into the wall. That we have with Giannis the last 2 offseasons. So I'm still like super optimistic about Bam Adebayo long term. He still has a ton of things that make him really unique. And yeah, some things were exposed on him this playoffs, but a lot of people are going to turn against Bam pretty quickly here. And I think that'd be kind of an overreaction.
Question for you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned how, the Heat are suited to stop Giannis, right? They're really good at stopping Giannis and, don't expect to have the same defensive stopping power on any other team that we face going forward. But is there like a team that is uniquely suited to stop Bam Adebayo? Because not many teams have Brook Lopez down low, an immovable object like Brook, and Giannis helping off ball.
Right. Yeah. No, I think the Heat would have fared much better if they weren't facing that. That's the Bucks. In the last 2 years, we ran that drop scheme where it was Brook camping out in the paint, and I saw a lot of people online complaining that Brook was, camped out too long. He should have been getting 3 seconds, but he does the 2.9 thing. Did you see that ever? Did you read that article? It's called 2.9ing. Anytime if a player comes near him, he just reaches out towards him, and they call that. They count that as it resets the clock. So as long as he's doing something like that every 2.9 seconds or stepping outside the lane, then he can just stay right there. So, that drop scheme, that really works well against Bam. And then you have Giannis that can cover up any miscues that Brook has, which there's not going to be too many of those. But then at the same time, where in the years past, we would not switch anything, and you'd run around screens, and then you'd just really depend on Brook Lopez to eat everything up inside. The Bucks now, they're switching everything on the outside, but they're still playing that drop scheme on the inside. Yeah, that posed a big problem for the Heat because they rely on those off ball screens and motion out around the wings to get open shooters, and the Bucks weren't really giving them a whole ton of that, and then they just couldn't get in the lane. So I don't know how many teams would be able to stop Bam the same way. So yeah, I think he'll probably look really good next year, and people will come back around on him. I wanted to look up his oops, had the wrong card up here. Look up Bam Adebayo's. Here we are at the SlabStox Pro dashboard.
Hey-o.
Dashboard confessional here. So that's going to be opening up here pretty soon, hopefully. Here's Bam Adebayo's 3-month look at his Prism Silver PSA 10. We see just back in the beginning of March, last sold at that time, $665. Most recent sale, $305. Yeah, just huge drop off, and obviously we've seen this with a lot of the non-numbered stuff. Especially base cards really are dropping off. But this is a little bit more unique with Bam because of the huge drop off recently. Look back at this is crazy. Look at the 1 year one.
Oh wow,
$305 where he's currently sitting. $305, the lowest point over the past year. So last June, as things were starting to tick up in the overall market, $387. We saw it rise all the way up until August with the bubble. The Miami Heat, he stayed strong all the way through September with the Heat in the playoffs, and then it ticked off, in the off season as everyone else's did, and then really just ratcheted up again heading into the new year, into the end of February or beginning of February, and then we've seen it drop off, and then we just have this plummet right here at the end. So this is much different than what we've seen with a lot of other cards. This is basement level prices for Bam Adebayo, and obviously there's just a lot of recency bias going on there. And I do think he's still a super good, gifted, unique player, and moving forward, I like him a lot. But yeah, he ran into a problem with the Bucks, and they couldn't solve it. Let's go back. Let's move on from Bucks talk. People are tired of it. Oh, how did that get on there? I'm an idiot. But I'm a funny idiot. Luka Doncic, my guy, dude. Hey, who are the two most popular players in the NBA?
Joel Embiid and Kelly Oubre.
This is outside of your basement where you live. Who are the two most?
LeBron.
Yeah,
and Luka, I guess. I would imagine.
Well,
maybe LeBron and Kevin Durant. Maybe LeBron and James Harden. I don't know. LeBron and
James Harden.
Wow,
dude, you're insane.
I don't actually think James Harden. That'd be like thinking Kyrie Irving.
No. Oh no. Think last 10 years. By far, the two most popular players in the sport of basketball.
LeBron.
Not like best. I mean, yeah, they're best also, but popular. LeBron. And the only guy that has rivaled LeBron in popularity and in star power over the past 10 years.
Giannis. Russell Westbrook.
Yikes, bro.
I'm drawing a blank. You tell me.
Stephen Curry, ever heard of him?
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. Get off the stream. Yeah. What do they have in common?
In my defense, I thought about the Warriors.
For that. What do they have in common? What do they have in common? Steph Curry, LeBron James.
Change the way the game's played?
Okay, kind of.
Well, maybe not LeBron, but Steph definitely did. Forces all on their own.
True. And I really think the thing that sets them apart from most other players is if you're watching Karl Anthony Towns play, you're seeing him put up, like, on a good night, 30 points and 16 rebounds or something. You're like, wow, yeah, that was really cool. But it's not like, watching his post-game interviews or watching him on the court, it's not like there's, like, antics or, he's not playing up to the crowd so much. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, like, go around the league, most of the players it's almost like most players kind of resent the crowd, and they don't really like the repliers on Twitter, and I don't know. There's just a lot of players are super good, but they just don't have that it factor when it comes to building up a fan base. LeBron, his whole career has revolved around like cultivating his image, so he's very good at that. And he's always played up to the fans and dapped up the stars and stuff like that. Steph Curry is probably the best ever at all the antics and the things that make people excited and building up that fan base. Luka Doncic is right there. Like watching him play against the Clippers over the past week, you've just really seen Kawhi on the one side. Like there was a shot, I don't know if it was game 1 or game 2, where you had 4 of the Clippers huddled together, and then you had Kawhi not only was he not huddled with them, like trying to figure out what to do, he was just standing over there by himself. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Luka Doncic at the same time is like dapping up the celebs in the front row. He's like playing up to the crowd. He's like eyeballing, whatever Victoria's Secret models in the front row, like no look past 28 feet over to the corner.
Staring down Pat Bev as he misses a shot.
I mean, it's just the way he plays the game is with so much joy and with so much confidence, and there's just so much flair to it that you only really get in a couple other guys in the league. And Giannis tries to bring some of that stuff, but it's clearly not supernatural for him. Luka Doncic is so natural, and you can tell that he played professionally in Europe and that he was a big deal in Europe before he came here, because here he is only in his 3rd season. He's just, he is the next face of the NBA. There's just no doubt about it. Like LeBron, we're clearly coming to the end for him. And Luka, it's like, get ready for him to be all over everything. He already is, but like, it's going to be even more so. He's been awesome. Game 1, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, awesome triple-double, 39 points, 44 points next game. Last game, 19 points. So they won the first 2 games, lost the second 2 games. Now Luka's kind of questionably has a nerve problem in his neck. Have you ever had any neck injuries or anything? You don't even have a neck.
It's there.
It
exists. Honestly, for a while, I dealt with a nerve that would go up between my shoulder blade and then up my neck, and it would make it so that you couldn't turn your neck.
Yeah,
and it was a chronic issue. So, and it was a chronic issue where I didn't even want to drive a forklift around at Menards while I was in college. Right? I can't even imagine having a nerve pain in your neck and trying to play basketball.
Yeah. It's rough, and you can tell game 4 he wasn't very comfortable. Who knows? I'm sure he's going to play game 5, but it's kind of a question at this point. But really, and it's just kind of like last year. Last year they only won 2 games, in the playoffs. But what we saw from Luka was so good and so promising that it didn't really matter that they got bounced right away. This year, you see Luka out there, and man, it is even clearer this year that dude has no one else on his team. And we saw the first 2 games that the Mavericks were shooting like over 50% from everywhere. The last 2 games, they have not shot that, and Luka can only do so much. So it's like he needs some more help on his team. But that dude, he has so much star power. Not just obviously playing, because he just takes the shots with the confidence that you don't see from anyone else. But like his ability to rile up a crowd and to build up a fan base and get people talking about him, that's just unrivaled in the NBA, other than maybe Steph Curry, I think. And I'm looking at Luka Doncic as just like, everything else is kind of slowly diminishing right now in the card market, and you want to put throw your money into a stable long-term stock, it's like there is no one better than Luka Doncic. He's going to be checking all the boxes for a while.
As long as he, by himself, yes. But do you think he gets a second star in there?
Yeah,
you got to get rid of Kristaps,
maybe
right?
Kawhi Leonard leaves. Well, they can free up like $60 million in cap room, I think, this offseason. So
because they built it all for chasing Giannis.
Yeah, they did, and they left it open. They didn't just go spend on something else. So maybe they could end up picking someone up. I have no idea. I really hope that they do, because he needs someone, and It could be a really good team. I don't think I wouldn't be super shocked unless the Clippers somehow, really righted the ship and went and won the finals or something like that. I wouldn't be super surprised if Kawhi left this offseason.
He left Toronto after winning the finals.
I know, and I've been kind of thinking. Well, that's true. I've been kind of thinking though that like he'd be like headed over to New York or maybe Miami. But it'd be cool if he went to Dallas.
Hey, is Jimmy Butler able to leave Miami too, or is that just a thing I made up in my head right here, right now?
I think so. Oh. Yeah, I don't think so. So Luka Doncic, we have his rookie green out of 149 from Optic. Aaron posted this on Instagram the other day. 6-month look here is up over $4,000 just back at the beginning of the year. Currently, we dropped down to $2,850 back in just a couple weeks ago. Now we're currently sitting at $3,500 on the most recent sale. My microphone's in the way of the price here. I got to lean way over. May 30th. So you can see a little bit of a jump off this. This is only lifetime 11 auctions, so it's obviously not like the most attractive chart that we're looking at here. But Luka, good player where you still have some, I would say, relative stability. I mean, even down here, we're still looking at a $3,000 card. It's a huge drop, but we went from 4,000 to 3,000. So relative stability, of course, it is numbered. What's your take on, this BGS 9.5, by the way. What's your take on what should people be doing right now? Numbered, non-numbered, base, silver?
You got to stay away from numbered. I mean, you're looking at base all over the place. And even for guys, now I'm a baseball guy, right?
From non-numbered, you meant.
Yeah, non-numbered. So I'm a baseball guy, right? And to an extent, short prints, right? Baseball's big on short prints. You can grab short prints. They're not numbered, but they're still really nice cards. I'm a baseball guy. You look at a guy like Juan Soto, not playing well. Prices are dropping. Vlad Guerrero Jr. playing really well. Prices have dropped from like the height down a little bit. Yeah. Ronald Acuna playing really well. Prices have dropped a little bit. Not necessarily numbered cards, but the base, the stuff that has 15,000 pop, PSA 10s, stuff like that. And so if you're sitting on any base whatsoever, at least what I'm going to do when I get my cards back from PSA and all the cards I have is I'm selling. I'm selling everything that is a base card that is non-numbered, and I will take all of my cards and put it into one card if I have to of a guy or maybe two that are way more expensive, rather than sitting on base cards. Because you look at, I'm sure if we had Prism base PSA 10 prices of Luka, you'd just see a straight drop, right? And you look at other guys like that, Fernando Tatis playing amazing. His high was like $325 this year. Now they're down under $200.
Right.
It's just not worth. It's probably not worth holding on at this point. I guess if you're in for in high on it, you might want to hold on and just see what happens, because it's tough losing $100+ a card. But definitely would want to buy the Luka.
But if you're buying base and then grading them, chances are you're still making money, and I'd probably just be happy with it. But
you can't grade them right now with PSA.
No, I mean, like if you've been waiting since last August or something.
Oh. Well, I have a fear of that too, because I sent in a lot of cards that were $50 to $100.
Greg must be nice.
And they are to get graded at PSA. And there's a couple that more expensive that I'm not worried about, but those $50 to $100 range cards, I'm a little worried by the time I get them back from PSA. A, they're not going to be graded 10s because PSA is super strict, and I'm going to get like 8s also. And B, $17 a card, and all of a sudden those PSA 10s are going to be $30 instead of $50, and you're not making anything.
Yeah, it stinks. Yeah, who knows? The market shifts all the time.
Yeah,
could change right back. It's hard to say, but right now the best thing to do, I would say, is look numbered. And Luka Doncic numbered cards is probably like the best investment in basketball if you're looking for a long-term hold. What's up next here?
Oh.
How'd that get in there? I want to talk about Russell Westbrook, and we're already at 33 minutes or something like that. So we got to get through because people are dying on the other side, literally. Russell Westbrook, game 1, 42 minutes, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 14 assists. Game 2, 29 minutes, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 11 assists. Game 3, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Triple-double master here. Obviously, most people aren't super excited about Russell Westbrook anymore. And I would say that I would probably say that most people just don't really like him a whole ton anymore, and they're kind of tired of the whole triple-double thing. But I do wonder if we've gone too far that direction. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that Russell Westbrook, like playing the way he does, is ever going to be on a championship contender. Because if he's on a team playing like this, he's the straw stirring the drink, and it's just like that's not gonna get a team anywhere, especially over any hump. So it's like, yeah, I understand that's not gonna happen, but the way he's talked about now is just like the butt of jokes and like just kind of a meme, you know, on Twitter and stuff. And he's still like a top 30 player or something like that. I mean, he's still a good player, but it's just, I think we've gone too far. If there's anything I've known about the internet, I've come to know about the internet and all my years being online, we shift, don't we? Can you hear a beeping over there? I'm making ribs for Memorial Day.
Oh, nice.
And it's beeping because it's telling me I gotta go cover them in foil. I'll do that after this, but I just want to make sure that's not, you can't hear that. Sorry, TMI. I do think coming up in the future, over the next couple of seasons, we will start to flip back and start loving Russell. Like there'll be like, hey, this has gone on too far, and it's just kind of like with Carmelo Anthony, how it just got his popularity just sunk lower and lower and lower, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, Carmelo, he's fun. We really like him. Oh, people have gone too far on Carmelo. I think that's going to happen with Russell Westbrook. So over the next like year or so, if you see Russ, you know, rookie cards just like super cheap and generally much lower population numbers than we see on rookies today, I wouldn't like hesitate to buy him, because long term he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he hunts stats and gets triple doubles, but you know what? A couple of years ago when he had his first triple double over the season and won the MVP, that was like among the most exciting seasons by an individual player in basketball that any of us have seen in a long time. Like everyone was rooting for him to get the triple double. Now that he's done it 160 whatever times, it's all like, okay, whatever. No one really cares anymore. But I mean, I think eventually we're going to come back around and love him once more. You know, imagine if Russ signed on with the Bucks to be like a sixth man coming off the bench and just put in 25 minutes off the bench, like just blitzing the hoop and putting in 20 points and you know, just kind of menacing or terrorizing the other team. Like that would absolutely get him back in people's good graces. And I think we're not too far away from him, you know, assuming that type of role. So this is one of my long-term looks here is Russell Westbrook. We could look at one of his cards here.
While you're looking that up, I have a question.
Sure.
I found it very quickly. Never mind.
Of course, I found it quickly. 3 months, $1,895. This was just back in March. Now we're sitting at $1,025. You know, so just about $1,000. This is a base rookie PSA 10. Topps chrome though, but you know, so he's really just clearly not excited too many people for a while. But if we're looking at even further down, you know, bottom basement bargain bin prices, I think eventually it's going to right the ship, because that's what the internet does. So.
Question for you. So obviously Carmelo was so looked down upon that he didn't even have a spot in the league.
True.
A couple years ago. That's unlikely to happen with Russell Westbrook.
True.
But I guess Carmelo kind of has a game that I feel like ages pretty well, in that he's big and can shoot.
Kinda.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like Russ is a worse shooter than him and also shorter.
Well, that's why I'm saying, look, I mean, if Russ is coming in to be a starting point guard, like, don't expect much. But if he's coming in to be a sixth man and he's playing against like the Jeff Teagues of the world,
true,
it's like it doesn't really matter how old he is. He's still going to be putting in a lot of points and a lot of assists in that time. And I don't know. That's just a thought I had, is we've gone too far on Russ, and eventually the ship will right. People, that's just what the internet does. They build up people too high. You know, think like Giannis last year, 2 years ago, everyone was like Giannis this, Giannis that. Now this year, everyone's like Giannis overrated. Blah, 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 blah. Russ is now like overrated. Blah blah blah. Eventually, it's going to shift back the other direction. So,
Yep.
If you're holding Russ cards, particularly, I would just wait a couple years and you probably sell higher than you are right now. Do I have any more slides? Looks weird.
Don't know how I got there.
I got there.
Aaron must have slipped those in.
Who is that?
I said Aaron must have put those in.
He did. He actually made my slideshow for me. So,
yeah.
All right, we're at 40 minutes. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I was a net positive on this whole experience for everyone and not a net negative.
It's helpful for me to talk with someone through this stuff.
I agree.
Well, thank you all for joining on. It was a pleasure, Nathan. It was a pleasure, the rest of you, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next week.